Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Democrats and their establishment media humiliated themselves yet again today. You've probably heard the press hyperventilating all day long over an explosive new report which attempts to allege former President Trump is just as corrupt as Joe Biden. It comes with a desperation to create an equivalency here that they really need when we're about 10, 11 months from an election. So voters can say, well, Biden is clearly compromised. There's really no denying that at this point, but so's the other guy. So that's really just a wash. That's what they need. We're going to continue to see this level of desperation for the next 10 months. These manic lunatics are terrified of Trump and Trump getting back in the White House. They will do anything, the least of which is lie. And boy, did they do that today. Today, the establishment media, the press, we watched them after ignoring Trump's truckloads, I should say, of evidence of Joe Biden's corrupt influence peddling scheme. We watched them go wall to wall on this explosive new Democrat report. Brace yourself. The allegation here is that foreign governments, like China, bought hotel rooms at Trump properties when they came to the United States to visit for diplomatic reasons while Trump was president. Take a look.
Found over just the first 2 years of his presidency, Donald Trump accepted some $7.8 million through his businesses directly from foreign governments.
And they do show that millions of dollars in payments came from about 20 foreign countries. The concern here is that these payments were made in an effort to influence Trump's foreign policy.
Millions of dollars in payments that flowed directly from foreign governments into the various businesses that were controlled by Donald Trump and his associates.
A Chinese bank, a state-owned Chinese bank, was paying $1.9 million a year to rent a room in Trump Tower.
If you're still watching these people, if you're still watching these networks, God help you. The equivalency they're hoping to achieve here is that American voters will see no difference between what Biden and Trump have done. That's what they need to do. So let us illustrate the vast expanse between these two stories. We're going to start with Trump, who built a real estate empire over decades before running for president, which he did not need to do, not like Joe Biden, who's never accomplished anything. The allegation is Trump is compromised because foreign countries like China used his very fancy, very nice, big city hotels when they came to town. What they want you to forget is what these same news organizations reported years ago, which is a simple fact that Trump donated the profits from these hotel stays. Trump sent the profit. Now, obviously, he paid for the cost of having them there. He's not going to lose money for this. But the profits went back to the U.S. Treasury, which, by the way, is just like throwing the money away. They reported this, but they're not reporting that today. You see it reported here, CBS, Associated Press. Trump gave about $200,000 a year in hotel profits to the U.S. government, about 5% of what he brought in the revenue. And guess what a typical hotel profit, about 5-10%. So the profits all went back to the Treasury. Trump also gave away his salary. They're not mentioning that today either. $2 million over 4 years, Trump just gave away. He was never even paid to be the president of the United States, and they're trying to paint him as corrupt. That's how sick these people are. And they have the audacity to make these claims, and you wonder how empty these people are to do something like this. You couldn't possibly have a soul and engage in this kind of propaganda and call yourself a politician or a journalist. Adam Schiff is a great example. This is his tweet from Shifty. Trump's businesses received at least $7.8 million from foreign entities while he was president. Yet Republicans in Congress will say nothing, all while accusing President Biden of the same without evidence. Their brand, willful blindness and hypocrisy. There is no bigger fraud in Washington than Adam Schiff. He is the perfect politician, a soulless little weird robot. That's exactly who he is. Two more beauties here. One from David Frum. Donald Trump was the most corrupt American president in history. There is no runner-up. What a fraud. Another pillar of credibility. Eric Swalwell. No president ever personally enriched himself more while in office than Donald Trump, and mostly in his case from foreign cash. I don't want to hear another peep about bogus Biden allegations. I mean, can you imagine? How do these people get married? And like, how do they have close friends? These are not human beings. They're just not. These are the flakiest frauds you could ever imagine meeting. How do you do this? Strange world. Fake outrage. They know the truth. They don't care. And there's tons of it out there right now. It's all over the media coverage, which has been hysterical today. This story has exploded wire to wire. It is everywhere. Take a look at this one from MSNBC.
Breaking news from Capitol Hill. There are new documents, they come from House Democrats, showing former President Donald Trump received nearly $8 million from 20 different foreign governments while he was in office.
Donald Trump received $8 million from foreign governments. That's how MSNBC phrases hotel room rentals at Trump properties, which he gave up control of to his kids before he entered the White House. MSNBC phrases it as China gave Trump $8 million. A profit-free stay at one of the properties he had built over the decades before he became the president of the United States. I guess here's the expectation, is that Trump was going to run for president and just drop atomic bombs on every hotel and golf course he's ever opened up. That was what they expected him to do. And because he didn't do that, they're going to crucify him. Saying it honestly, reporting the story as it really is, won't scare anybody away from voting for Trump. So obviously they can't do that, which is why MSNBC has to phrase it that way. They describe it in the most sinister way possible. Let's continue as MSNBC's Capitol Hill reporter laid out the allegations against Trump's hotels. He then said this about the investigation into Joe Biden. Take a listen.
What Republicans have failed to do at this point, though, is show how Joe Biden personally benefited from any of the work that his son did around the world. They have not shown vast amounts of millions of dollars worth of payments that were directly given to Joe Biden as a result of his son's business dealings, nor have they shown any evidence that Joe Biden's role as a public official benefited any of these foreign entities.
He went to journalism school. I went to journalism school. I've worked for most of these companies. NBC, worked for CBS affiliates, ABC affiliates. This is amazing to watch. Let me be the first to tell you. All of these people have sold their souls because they've been convinced that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, which means he's a threat to the government, which is what he really is. He's a threat to this massive, bloated, despicable government that has metastasized into something we don't even recognize anymore. What he just said, when foreign governments rent rooms in hotels Trump left his children in control of, it's Trump receiving millions from China. That's how they're going to phrase it. But when Joe Biden's entire family gets paid millions of dollars so our adversaries and corrupt foreign actors can gain direct access to Joe Biden's power, they phrase it as there's no evidence Joe Biden was involved. This is how much they have to sell their soul to work at these networks so they can get on TV and act like they're important. These useless little talking heads. No evidence Joe Biden was involved, except those checks from Jim to Joe Biden, of course. They have to neglect that as well. Look at how much credibility they have to sell just to try and kill Trump. You got direct payments to Joe. Jim Biden gets hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the same day Joe gets a check from Jim Biden for $200,000. There's no evidence Joe Biden was involved because Joe said it was a loan repayment. Well, the media, oh, it's a loan repayment. Well, that's it. That's the end of the story. It's amazing to watch. It's really sad.